Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. This episode. This episode was kind of a mess. Kind of a mess. There's a particular part in this episode that is just pointless. Until the end. Until the end, it makes sense. But I'm going to start off with Bill and Brooke. Bill and Brooke have this extremely pointless conversation. Bill is coming here talking about Katie. And pretty much he's sad that he hasn't made any progress with her. And I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm like, when I first started watching B&B, which was like maybe a year and a half ago, they were already broken up. And he was sitting there trying to win her back. Bro, it's been about a year and a half. What are we doing at this point? Like, this is just stupid. Like, this is literally dumb. He literally came over there to Brooke's place to complain, to whine about how he hasn't made any progress with Katie. It's been a year and a half. It's been a year and a half. I know in these shows they have fillers. Okay? They usually have two people that are just there to be there. I think a couple of days ago they had Zende and they had I forgot the name. Paris. There's Zende and Paris there. And I'm just like, oh, y'all just want to come here to get a check, right? I mean, I get it. I always sit there and say this as a joke. I understand that contracts, people, they're supposed to sit there. They're promised to be, a certain amount of appearances. So I get that. And I look at this scene today and I'm just like, oh, Dollar Bill, I haven't seen you in a minute. And I'm just like, oh, cool. So we're just sitting there talking about something that you've been trying to do since I first started watching and reviewing this show. And Sally was on the show. So this whole scene, to me, was just pointless. But it plays a factor in the end. It really plays a factor in the end with the Ridge and Taylor scene. Ridge and Taylor talk about their feelings. Or at least that's what they're saying that they're doing. They're saying that they're doing. In reality, I mean, if you had to sit there and write the definition of, I don't know, beating around the bush, you got the king and the queen right there. Ridge says something along the lines of, I'm always going to love you. Oh, okay. I mean, that's great. But loving someone and being in love with someone, as you know, is two completely different things. They beat around the bush. They don't, when you sit there and say, let's talk about our feelings. Okay, cool. I'm expecting a genuine, honest talk of him sitting there saying, you know what, I'm in love with you. But I'm also in love with Brooke. Now, eventually, Taylor does say that. Taylor does sit there and say, you love two women. Well, I don't remember if she said that you're in love with two women. But she does point out the fact that he has feelings for Brooke, and he also has feelings for Taylor. Okay, she does point that out. After that, she pretty much just says, yo, listen, Brooke is going to disappoint you. She is always going to disappoint you. Okay? No matter if it's with Bill or Deacon or some new man, you are always going to feel stressed and not happy. Now, granted, she doesn't sit there and say what her is going to be a lot different, but she just points out everything, basically saying that Brooke is going to disappoint you. Steffi, Oh my god, I do not like this woman. I don't like this woman. I love the. Here's the thing. I love the fact that she can be real and she can be honest. She is not the type of person that's going to BS. Okay, I can give her credit when it. If you ask her a question and you like, yo, I want your honesty. She doesn't BS. Okay, and I love that about her. I admire that about her. And at the same time, she can still work my nerves. Okay, she can work my nerves. There's a point where Steffi is talking to Hope, and she's talking about, my grandmother. My grandmother was like this with her. She tried to compare herself to her grandmother. Now, there's a line that I hate when people refer to Brooke this way, because I hate when they refer to any woman this way. The slut of the valley. It is so disgusting hearing a woman call another woman that. It it should be blasphemy at this point. The fact that, I mean, listen, I get conflict, but there's conflict and then there's just tearing each other down as women. And I feel like that's one of those things where it's like when you start calling, and I've seen that when I'm on this site. I've seen people in the comment section say that, and I'm just there to watch the soaps, so I'm not going to sit there and argue with people. And I didn't get an account, and I'm not going to do that. But I mean, if I did, I might actually have to sit there and go in there, and oof, I would not be nice. Not that much. And Brooke, don't get me wrong, Brooke has not been my favorite character. But there's a line that I feel like, even as fans, that you just shouldn't cross. And I've seen people do that, and I'm just like, what's wrong with you? Like, seriously, as a woman, what's wrong with you? And it seemed like Brooke was about to go. It seemed like Stephanie was about to go there and say that. And I'm like, yo, listen, I'm not even a fan of Hope, but if she comes out her mouth and say that, hmm, I'm like, at that point, Steffi is begging for somebody to slap the taste out of her mouth. Literally, she should have a sign right there that says shirt that says slap the taste out of my mouth. But they go back and forth, and at first Thomas tries to keep the peace, but then eventually he does side with Steffi. Now, there's a point where Hope is like, "Oh, are you snitching trying to make a play for Douglas to ruin, to ruin my parent, to ruin my mom's marriage or whatever?" And I'm just like, really, Hope? Really? I mean, granted, Steffi is still getting on my damn nerves, but really, Hope? Really? So Thomas is like, no, I want to be a dad. And at some point, he leaves. And, Hope is like, listen, we're usually civil for the most part, except when it comes to our parents. So why don't we just let our parents decide on what's best for them? Steffi, on the other hand, has to act like the obnoxious child that she is. Okay, she is a grown woman with two children and a career, and yet she still feels the need to butt in her parents' relationship. She's all like, "No, I can't do that. I won't do that because I want my dad to be happy." And da 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 and da 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 da. And I'm just like, I get where she's coming from to some extent, and it's hard watching people make mistakes, knowing that you know you would love to sit there and talk them out of it. But at the end of the day, you got to let people be people. You can't sit there and try to control someone's life, and even if you feel like it's for the best, you can't do that. And that's where I have issues with Steffi, because I understand where Steffi is coming from. Maybe not on the whole Brooke and Rich thing, but just on watching your loved ones make mistakes and knowing that you can't do anything, you can't live their lives for them. Except for that's what Steffi is literally trying to do. Now at the end of the episode, Taylor, Ridge was sitting there listening to Taylor talk about how she's going to constantly disappoint you. Ridge comes in there and sees Brooke hugging Bill. And that's where it all comes in. That's where the full circle comes in. Because up until this point, it was just like, bro, really? You're still sitting there disappointed? Yeah, why don't you go with Lee? I mean, I got some reservations about her, but I mean, I have seen her when she did a interview with James, JLJ Media. I've seen her, dressed up in glam, and I was like, damn. I was like, okay. She definitely got it going on. Okay. Now, I have made comments in the past about her not smiling, because let's be honest, I haven't really seen her smile. But when I do see her smile, she's good looking. I would sit there and say that much. Like, why don't you concentrate on Lee? Why don't you get that thing going? Get that popping or whatever. Stop obsessing with this woman or wanting to get back with this woman that has been going on since the time I started. Okay? Since the time that I started watching this show and reviewing it, he's been doing that. Like, it's like, what are we doing at this point? I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else that happens. So with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. See you in the next video.